Good Saturday morning. I hope that this works out well. By the time this gets posted, it will be Saturday afternoon. Hope you're having a good day and getting prepared for this messy storm that we have over the next 24, 36 hours. And it will definitely be interesting all around. Here's our culprit, our low pressure system that we see. We can see him hanging out here just north of Louisiana, about to enter our Mississippi and then going to Alabama and Georgia. You're going to see that. It's going to move kind of like this. And everything up to this point, I'm all excited about. Here's our high pressure system. Here's our source of cold air. Now, you got to know that today was originally the day that this storm was going to form and work its way towards our area. And that started to change over time. And it has to do with, you can see also these really strong isobars out to the east. This system would have blocked in a lot of cold air, and this would have been a great snowstorm. But things really changed over the course of time. So moving forward here, and I'll do the best I can just to move blip by blip here. You see it moving, as I said, kind of almost southeast into almost upper part of Florida. Then it starts to make a turn up the east coast. But a little bit interesting here. Now, the trough, as what we call it, that is the bending of the isobars and everything else. Where right now, this thing is getting cut off. And the trough is neutral, which is fine, or even negative a little bit. So it's going to kind of turn its way up. Kind of think of the bottom of a roller coaster. It's going to go and round out that trough and go up, but it's also getting wrapped up. So it's starting to bring in moisture and things off the ocean this way. And it's pretty far west here. That's pretty normal. You can see kind of like move up in this direction. Pretty normal. Nothing worrisome here too much. Except, and I think I need to point this out, you should see that now this high pressure system is not only gone from here, but the highest pressures are off the East Coast. And now we're still getting some press of cold air. So this is air moving in this direction. So we're staying cold for the time being, and all that's good. But this is not where you want to see the cold air source remain if you want to appear a storm. Because what it's going to do is it's going to actually provide some blocking and move this thing. Instead of due east, it's going to start moving it more north. Again, if the cold had been up here, we would have been in better shape. It would have been pressing more cold, but you're going to see that that changes very quickly here. So here we are, and things are starting to snow about 1 to 3 p.m. or 3 or 4 p.m. on Sunday, and it's snowing pretty good here at this point, and this is where things change dramatically. You can already see as I move forward. This is pretty impressive, because here it is, and I was all excited. You move forward, that's still okay. We're not in the best place because we probably would get mixing at this point. But if it was to move east like a normal system, no problem. But what you're seeing now is that the bars of pressure are no longer in our favor. And what I mean by that is you get the cold air still riding here, here, here. But now these winds, instead of pushing, they're pushing out here into the mountains, they're actually turning more towards the east. And when that happens, warm air, I mean, this stuff is warm, is being pushed in over top. You're going to flip over. Unless this thing can move out here so that that warmth stays out in front of it. But instead what it does is it reforms. Now, why does it do that? Ironically, we see this little bend here. You can see these little pressure bends here. There's a wave in the jet flow that's coming down, and it wants to actually meet up with this guy, and they're going to pull on each other. So this guy's going to lasso this thing and move it westward. Very bizarre. Did not think it would be true based on, just history. But, I mean, it's possible, and ironically, the model's held course. So you've already seen the frames kind of advance a little bit, and you see that it stacks up there and goes a little bit west. And it's also strengthening out, bombing out. So let's go back to this right here. This is crazy, because what it means now is we are in the Northern Virginia area, lined up with or to the east of this low pressure system, which means we're like in the warm sector. All this is flowing up to here. This is all super warm air. It's coming off the ocean. You're not going to stay anything but rain at this point. Now, because there's cold air locked in at the surface, it's likely that we're going to see cold air reside there for a while because it's just been so cold. But it's going to get scoured out because of the amount of rain, precipitation, and wind that we're going to be dealing with. Look at these isobars. These are the equal lines of pressure. They're super duper tight. That means a lot of wind. Not good, considering that we'll be getting some freezing rain on top of it. We'll just have to see how much that plays out. So here we're moving forward. You see now the low kind of goes right overhead. At this point, it wraps in dry air because the upper level features have actually stacked on top of itself, and that tends to bring in some drier air. So we will probably see the rain kind of go to light, and then even on the backside, it starts to get the cold air again, and we start to see some snow showers. This thing then moves up to the north. The other system that kind of caught up to it is now phased in, and that thing is a humdinger of a storm up here in the north. They're talking about hurricane force winds along the coast. We're getting a lot of wind off the backside. The western slopes of the mountains are likely to do extremely well when it comes to snow. So just really quick, kind of going back over while we're showing out. That's the next storm, if you can believe it. Here it comes. It's coming up. And, it goes right over top of us, which turns us over. I think it's up to New England. We'll zoom in a little bit just to show you what I mean. Again, this is a GFS model, so we're just going to pop through the next several frames. So this is showing 1 p.m. today, 4 p.m. today, 7 p.m. today, now overnight 10 p.m., 1 a.m., and we go to 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m. We just start to see the snow here in the southwest part of the area. And it's going to be moving along, too. I mean, here in the next frame, it's up on our doorstep. It's about 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's about 24 hours from now. We'll start to see some snow move into the area. Then it starts snowing pretty well between 1 and 4 p.m. The snow kicks in. We're doing pretty well. That is lasting until about 7 p.m. And here's where we're going to see the flip pretty dramatically. You see very heavy rain here to the east. And you're seeing very quick warm air get infiltrated in here. You're seeing sleet representation. I would say it's between 7 and 9 p.m. or 7 and 8 p.m. on this one at least that we're seeing the flip to the sleet, and it's going to quickly then churn over to rain. So yes, the green is rain. Still showing some frozen. This is freezing rain. The pink sleet is the orange pink is the sleet. We're here, but here's what I want to do. I'm going to click on this. This may look a little strange to you, but what I want to show you is the surface temperature. So the surface temperature here now is saying it's above freezing at this time. So that means whatever was out there is possibly melting from the rain that's fallen at this point in time. So then we move forward, and this is when the low gets stacked. It literally goes right over top of us. So the lowest pressure goes right overhead. At this point, though, we get dried out because it's going to wrap some drier air back into it over top of us. Our temperatures also should probably be at the height of their warmth, about 37 or so degrees. It's maybe a little overdone just because it's the GFS, doesn't have enough resolution. And then we see the snow showers possible after the system. You can see a little more pronounced here as we go forward. All right, that is the overall what's going to... So here's a little more fine-tuned granularity of what's happening with the system as it comes in. So tomorrow it's coming in. We got the snow approaching from the south, and this is a shorter time period between it. Snowing pretty good. And then we start to see the sleet and rain or freezing rain intrusion right about, in this case, around 7 p.m. So about the same time. And we quickly then move towards a freezing rain scenario, which will be something we have to watch. But then very quickly over to rain. You get about 6 hours, though, here, or 4 or 5 hours, 3 or 4 hours, sorry, of freezing rain. That could be problematic for some areas. So you see the freezing rain trying to hold on east of the mountains. That's because it's just trapped there. That's problematic. We stay pretty warm. Here comes the low, and it moves on by. But, now you've got consistency in the pattern. Maybe a little bit of snow showers, like I said, again, on Monday. This is a finer resolution model. So what are we seeing really quick on the totals of the precipitation? We're looking at total snowfall. And we'll go ahead and go into the future. I'll go past the time. So you see the total snowfall is about 2 to 3 inches. Not too much. Now, this thing tends to potentially warm it up a little too fast, so maybe it's a little more than that. But honestly, 1 to 3 to 2 to 4 is about what we're dealing with. And that's kind of what we have on the snowfall map. Now, this is the ice accumulation that it's looking like. And this is a little more alarming because there's more ice than I thought. This is going to be your sleet. Sleet's about 1/10 or so of an inch of sleet on top of things. Remember, that's going to come through hot and heavy tomorrow evening. But then we also get the freezing rain. Now, if the freezing rain is falling in heavy, so the rain is coming down pretty hard, it has a hard time to accrete, which means like accumulate on the power lines and stuff because it's melting itself as it falls through the warm air. And that's what I'm hoping really does happen. As here we're talking about, a quarter to almost a half an inch of freezing rain. I think what we're going to see is a lot of that melt. However, you do have the heavy snow, depending on how much snow we have, and sleet and stuff in the system. So that could become problematic. So that's going to be what we're going to have to deal with. That's why I think we'll see a winter storm warning get issued. If it doesn't get issued for the whole county, it definitely will be for the western part of the county, and it's mainly because a combination of both snow and ice will be problematic. The last thing I want to is the winds that we're going to be dealing with. So as the system approaches and we start to see things tomorrow, we're going to see the winds really increase. So this is wind gusts, and I think these are going to be a little bit high, but you see them gusting up into the 30, 40, almost 50 mile per hour at its height. Now that's going to cause some power challenges if we have our snow and sleet and freezing rain and stuff in the trees. I think these are probably high by about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So we're in the 40s, but I mean, that's going to definitely cause some trouble with the power. So it's something we're going to have to worry about as we go through the system. And then as it moves out, on the backside, we get our cold winds in the backside of the low pressure. So with that in mind, and the fact that I think we start off with a really, really cold air mass, I'm not changing this map. What I'm not showing here is obviously the amount of freezing rain and sleet, and I think fine-tuning this will happen actually as we get really, really close to the event and we start to see how things unfold. Unfortunately, it's going to be very hard because how fast that warm air rushes in can really change these. If anything, think of the low numbers on this as your worst-case scenario, and potentially likely if it really moves as fast as it's going to, and warm air moving off the ocean always tends to be worse than we think. And so it comes in a little sooner than we expect. Anyway, and then we got to deal with the icing situation, which I'd say anything in the areas just to the east of the Blue Ridge are going to be the ones I would be most worried about, icing being a more severe concern. But everywhere it deals with that wind situation, so that will be the other thing I add into my outlook. All right, this is way long. I hope you guys stuck with me. Going to be crazy the next 24, 36 hours. I don't think I'll give this much detail in any other forecast, so if I do another video, it will be very short. I hope you stuck with me, and I hope this mattered and helped. Thanks.